us a little bit about your relationship with this farm and Gifts of Love.
I'm the executive director. I've been in that role for about 6 months, and I'm so happy to talk about the farm. It's such an important part of what we do.
How so? Talk a little bit about why the farm is important for Gifts of Love.
Well, our mission is focused on easing the burden of poverty, and we do that through fighting food insecurity and providing food. And what many people don't realize is the challenge that food pantries have providing fresh produce, right? Food insecurity programs generally are kind of handcuffed by the foods that you would find in a typical pantry, which is canned goods and so on. And we are just absolutely, so thrilled to have the opportunity here to provide people in need with fresh produce, which they're not normally exposed to. We also have a lot of educational programs here that people don't realize, which is also part of our mission. We want to teach people where their food comes from, how to make healthy choices and understand how organic farming especially works and why that's important in terms of our food chain and where our food comes from. And it's just a really important kind of pillar program that we have at Gifts of Love.
So how does it fit in with the Gifts of Love mission? I mean, these two things seem interesting, but they seem a little divergent, but they fit together beautifully.
Absolutely. We are about easing the burden that many Connecticut residents face, and that doesn't just include cans of food that you generally get from a pantry. And our pantries are amazing. We have quite a variety in our pantries, and our clients experience a bit of a shopping experience, if you will, and at the pantry. And of course we have other items other than just food. We have clothing and household goods, but really, pantries are handcuffed by the mechanics of providing food in mass to people who need it. And that often means being somewhat limited to what's donated and also storing food. Just the nature of having a pantry means that we have to look at, non-perishable goods and canned goods. And we're able to supplement that with the farm, which is really so unique. How many programs out there in the world that fight food insecurity can say that they have this balance of fresh produce and programs that happen in and around a farm, as well as food pantries and backpack programs and things like that. So really we're so lucky to have the space, and we're so lucky that the town of Simsbury invited us into this opportunity.
Talk about the incubator farmer program.
They each have incredible stories on their own. I'm so proud that we've brought them together under the Gifts of Love umbrella here at the farm. They're really, incredible people, and each one of them, as you talk through what they're trying to accomplish here and what they're trying to do with their own kind of mission in life and goals, they align well with what we're trying to do as an organization. And they all are fighting food insecurity in their own way, and they all have their own take on what we do. But really, it's such a diverse bunch that are kind of united in this one mission, and I'm really proud to be a part of it. And
the incubator program really has as its goal to grow more farmers, to create more farmers. So there's an educational component to the incubator program too, right?
So the idea, the gist of the program is essentially that we have incubator farmers here that learn alongside with our full-time farmer, who's incredible, and an academic farmer that we all lean on because of his experience and background. And then they can then turn into a farmer who's paying it forward and starting their own programs. And so in a way, it makes our impact layered. So they have an impact on what we do as Gifts of Love, on our clients, the people that are getting the fresh produce from our farm, but then they're going to pay it forward with whatever programs they start next. And it's really kind of a cool concept. I'm very fortunate that Gifts of Love has been growing and the farm programs have been growing, so I'm actually able to hire some of them onto our staff now, in a way they've kind of graduated from the incubator program, and we didn't want to let them go, so we're going to stick them around and have them stick around and take advantage of their skills. And we're really fortunate to have them.
So last year you started sharing the food from here, the produce from here, with the community. You had a farm stand, and this year you have a CSA. So talk about the CSA.
CSA is so exciting. We just launched it yesterday. I'm very proud of the program. What I think is perhaps the coolest component. I love CSA. I love the concept. It brings people closer to farming generally. But what's really somewhat unique about our program is that part of when people contribute to our CSA, they actually write the check to get the box. It's a great value compared to other CSAs in the world. But they're also supporting all of our other programs. And as a result of that check, a family in need is able to get the produce and also the other services that they need. We also have a CSA sponsorship program where donors can actually donate to a family in need directly, and that helps us get produce in their hands, which, the mechanics of getting produce into the hands of people that need it the most is challenging, right? It's really an expensive process, and it can be cumbersome for an organization like ours to get produce out into the world and in the hands of families that need it. So we really appreciate the support of all of our funders, but especially those that chose to sponsor a CSA program.
And you have clients. I think there's an assumption that all your clients are very local to this area, but you have clients far afield.
I am amazed at the radius. The way Gifts of Love has evolved so kind of organically over the years, it did start in this area. That was the mission, neighbors helping neighbors, and we were really focused on Simsbury especially and this immediate community. But as the program grew, so did our ability to serve our clients, and as that got kind of bigger and better, in a way, word got out. So we now have clients that are driving from as far away as 30 or 40 minutes, right? And at times they're kind of going past some of the other services that they could qualify for because of what we're able to give them. And at times that's over $100 worth of food and clothing, and some of it is seasonal. And over the holidays, we're giving out $200 worth of stuff at a time, and that's really incredible and unique. And I'd love to take all the credit in the world. Is really because of the support of this community, right? We have really generous donors, really generous funders that have enabled us to do that. And so now, our radius is getting wider and wider and wider. And so our footprint, especially our social footprint in Connecticut, is just getting wider and wider and wider. And we're really proud of that.
And you have an office in Hartford.
We have an office in Hartford. Yeah, transportation is a really big barrier for our clients, and they have to navigate the mechanics of perhaps multiple jobs or shifts or child care issues or whatever barriers they face. But it's not easy to always get into a car and drive across town to get the services that you need. So we are trying very hard to think creatively on how do we get that service closest to them and in their neighborhood. So opening the Hartford office was a big step for that. It's in the Asylum Hill area. We immediately saw an uptick in our clients from that neighborhood, and we're hoping to bring on other locations in the future where we can tap into other neighborhoods as well.
Before we wrap up, is there anything about this farm I should have asked that I didn't?
The stories that we can tell about the farm are somewhat, endless. And the history of the farm, dating way back, 150 years ago, is really an incredible story. And I think what is so exciting about this place and what we're doing is that the mission of Gifts of Love fits in perfectly with the original mission of the farm and its history, dating back, to when a farmer here had people walking to get their fresh produce because they couldn't afford it anywhere else, before cars were invented, and still to this day, we are aligned with that mission. I think we're a perfect fit for Community Farm of Simsbury and Gifts of Love. It's just, an ideal relationship in terms of our overlapping missions.
these plants. These are your plants.
Yes, ma'am. My wife and I are in the business of teaching people how to grow food. So in the process, we also grow a lot. We save a lot of our seeds, and plants give very abundantly. That's the beautiful thing. Each one of these has a reproductive process where for a lot of them, it looks like they send up little stalks to come out, they flower, and they give you a whole bunch of seeds. So we have a lot of stuff. Like we have a lot of peppers. Some of these back here are peppers. We got some more back there. You can tell because they kind of look like this with little cups. We have some ashwagandha coming up. We got some parsley in the back that look kind of like clovers. Over here we got some fennel. Got some fennel over here. We got some tulsi over here. I'm just being random right now, pardon me. We got some tulsi over here. Tulsi is a beautiful medicinal herb. It's great for tea. It has such a sweet fragrance and such a sweet flavor. And it really helps to relax the brain. It releases that chemical in the brain that causes you to relax. And it's a personal favorite. It's one that we're known for growing. Over here we have some ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is it's a medicinal herb. You use the root. You can use the root for its properties. You can do it by way of either tincturing, pardon me, we can make teas out of it. That's another very great one. It just helps boost your immune system. A lot of antioxidants, which is, an antioxidant is something that removes what's called free radicals in your bloodstream. So it kind of gets harmful things out of the way.
Tell us a little bit about how you got into farming.
That was almost entirely my wife. She's been working at a production farm in Granby for 6 years, I believe now. And yeah, she's always so passionate about it. I always call her the heart of the team, and I'm the soul of the team. She's the heart because she's so passionate about this. She makes you excited. Hey, look, this is a carnivorous plant. I'm like, wow, I don't know what that is, but it sounds exciting. And also, it was also a bit because when you first meet, you're like, wow, she's interested in plants. I have to learn something about plants. So that also played a role.
So you started getting interested in order to pursue your wife. Am I hearing this right?
That's not the whole story, but that's a good part of it. That's a good chunk of it. That's at least 50% of it.
And so you have a business together that has to do with the crops which you grow. Talk about that.
So we have a group called Samad Gardens Initiative. That's S-A-M-A-D. That's a word that means one upon whom all depends, which beautifully encompasses how we perceive the earth to be. It's a beautiful mother that we have. And if we treat our Mother Earth right, she'll deal with us in great ways. She'll give us to us abundantly and really make sure that we're all taken care of. So, Samad, yes ma'am. Samad Gardens Initiatives. We're trying to help people grow, as many people grow as possible, especially in the inner cities where people don't necessarily have access, but we teach them how to start. We teach them about different kinds of soil, different kinds of plants, what seeds you want to look into. Do you want to use what's called an F1 hybrid, or do you want to use what's called an heirloom seed? There's a couple of differences. Primarily the heirlooms are open pollinated usually, and what that generally means is they have genetic traits that have been passed down from generation to generation to generation.
Is that good?
That's very good.
Okay.
Because if those traits have survived, that means they got used to an area. All right, so like here in Connecticut, it snows. It was flurrying yesterday. Not all plants like the cold. Beans hate the cold. They won't even start germinating in this area until like June.
So you have been a part of the Incubator Farmer program for how long?
This is our first year here.
It's your first year, and what made you decide to become a part of it?
Well, we have friends here. They've told us about this place last year, and you can just basically come and lease like a good half acre to grow in. It's cut and dry. There's not a whole bunch of raised beds you have to worry about and stuff like that. So it's nice when you really get that in-ground experience. So it was just a simple thing. We just come, sign a lease, and we can have access to greenhouse space. Yeah, simple.
What would you like people to know about the Gifts of Love Farm?
There's a couple of things. One, this has been a good place for us. So people always want to know, what did something do for you? Well, it's been good for us. We very much enjoy having all this, like this table, we have all this here, and all that stuff on that half of the table is also ours. So we have, and greenhouse space is very important, particularly in this area of the world, because it's cold and we can extend the seasons here. I also love the camaraderie, because again, we have friends here. We know a number of people who are here, and they've sung these praises, because you can just come and just do what you got to do. So we're very thankful for that. Shout out to everyone who's been on the board, who's been making it work. Shout out to Jim, who's the manager for the farm. And yeah, this has been a good place for us so far, so we're happy here.
Anything else I should ask you about that I didn't?
There's a million things on that. A million things on that. So yeah, one thing is that Samad, we have a two-prong approach. So we have all the information about all the different stuff of plants, about seeds, soil, on all the other good stuff that you need. There's a lot in there. We also have the second prong, which is more so my department, which is mindset development. Mindset development, yes ma'am. It's extremely important because you talk to a lot of people like, oh my God, I can't keep my houseplant alive. What would I do? I'm like, oh, let's stop right. Oh, did I get you?
Yes.
See, exactly.
You did get me.
It's all about analyzing these different things that we have and altering what we perceive as erroneous or incorrect in our perception. You know what I'm saying? And flipping that so we can use that as a source of strength. So in plain words, what that means, when we have a problem upstairs in our mind, we're usually the ones who keep that problem in place. So if people think, okay, I can't keep houseplants alive, stop it. Stop saying that. You're telling yourself that you can't do it. Your subconscious mind has no power to accept or reject. It's just going to take. If you tell yourself that often enough, you're going to believe that. That's what a true belief is. It's not what you say. It's what your subconscious mind believes. It's what it acts on. Because your subconscious mind is what? It's habitual. There's no reason for it. If I jump at you like, you're going to like, whoa. There was no thought behind that. There's no conscious thought whatsoever. Right? It just happened. That's how your subconscious mind operates your body. It just happens. So it's figuring out why these things are happening, why we're having these different kinds of thoughts. If you think you can't keep a houseplant alive, we have to first get you to accept the idea that not only can you keep a houseplant alive, you can also grow all this stuff into some, and that it's an easy process and a worthwhile one.
So start by telling yourself.
Yes, ma'am. So we start with this with a correct positive mental attitude. Everything becomes easier because most people defeat themselves before they start just by incorrect thinking.
Wow.
So this is the thing I tell everybody: love your plants. Love your plants. It might sound weird, but if you talk to your plants, right? Some people look at you like, talk to your plants. Like other people know what I'm talking about. They're like, I sing to my plants, I dance with my plants. Exactly. See, it's like a child. If you're always, dogging down your child, that's not good enough, or this and that, and the child's not gonna do so well. Plants are the same way. But if you tell you, you are so beautiful, thank you for starting this journey with me. We're gonna enjoy this great gift of life that we have together. You know what I'm saying? Understanding that you breathe out, you exhale what I inhale, I exhale what you inhale. We're gonna have this loving relationship. They'll give to you more. Plants will actually give to you more if they're happy. We had our tomatoes growing last season. Everyone else had no tomatoes because they're all dying towards the end of the season. Our tomatoes were still abundantly giving to us because I talk to our tomatoes all the time. I'm talking like in September, November, we still had tomatoes coming.
And we still had all that negativity in the world.
Yeah. But other people who were working at production farms, like, I don't have no more tomatoes. And we did. Well, I talked to our plants every day. When I watered them with the utmost love and respect that I believe that they deserve, because the essence of their life and the essence of my life are identical. We are one and the same in that sense. So I'm going to speak life to it, just like I want to speak life to myself. And it gives to me. It gives to me that love back, and I give it back to it. And it's a beautiful relationship. And that's how I strive to treat every human being I come across.
It's interesting because there's a common theme between what you're saying and what Derek said, which was the whole idea of the passion. The passion for this is not just about growing things. There's a whole lot more of a relationship between you and
absolutely.
this.
And Derek is a very wise man.
He is indeed. Yeah,
that's
really,
my brother right there.
I really enjoyed talking to him. Excellent. Well, I would shake your hand if I could. We have to.
Thank you very much.
That's a good. I like that. That's good. That works.
This has been in the hands of the town since Amos Eno deeded the property to the town, and we're very blessed with that because this property could have been developed. So this is really a farm, a property, greenhouses, barns, flowers for the community. An incubator program started out very small when I was part of that original board, and that's part of the education piece that the town had asked us to follow through with. So we started really with just 2 incubators and a very small piece of property, probably about as big as this greenhouse, and little did we know that it would just grow year after year after year to what it is today. And we're real proud of this incubator farming piece of the education piece in the farm, because we have such a diverse group of incubator farmers. We never had that before. We actually never even sought them out. They came to us by word of mouth, by other farmers in the state, by other entities. So we were really blessed that they want to be here and they want to work with us. And this is probably what makes it even more special. And this is part of the piece that we want to educate the town about, that we are offering these programs for incubator farmers. And it's such a diverse group that are here, and also growing diverse crops,
Yes.
which we have never seen before. And so this is something that is a piece about just letting the public know that that's what we do here, and we want to continue to doing what we're doing here because it's part of education. Incubator farmers educating these farmers into the world of farming and the crops that they're growing and the different diverse group of crops that they are growing. So it's really exciting to see what they're going to be growing year after year. And of course, the incubator farmers are fully engaged with the gifts of love and with their crops that we also use for our food pantries.
What is your relationship to the Gifts of Love farm?
The Gifts of Love farm is special to me because it's on farmland that I've been farming on since 2012. So I hold a great joy for this farm.
And you have multiple roles here.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about what you do here at the farm.
Okay, so I started as an incubator farmer. So when I was introduced to this community, I had just finished a business training course with farming with my partner Jim, and then it so happened he found that the community farm of Simsbury, now Gifts of Love Farm, were helping new beginner farmers, basically giving them access to land, water, cooler space, and it was a application process back then to get in, and I just remember we applied, and then we got an interview, and they're like, we want to invite you to join us, and that was the start of my farming journey. And that same season, I got into the Coventry Farmers Market, one of the biggest markets in Connecticut, and that's how it all started, and that's how I started to meet other farmers, and it lit me up. And just I remember being in the field and picking the peas, and honestly it transported me back in time, and I felt like I was connected to something bigger. I'm like, I'm a part of something bigger. This is special. People have been growing food and going to the farmers market for years, like centuries, and I got to be a part of this. I'm like, oh my God.
So it's farming in your blood. I mean, did you grow up farming?
My parents are immigrants from Cambodia. We're refugees. My mother grew up on a farm in Cambodia.
Okay.
My dad, his family had rice fields. So I would say it's in the blood, but did they think their kids would be farmers working so hard to come to America and live the American dream? It's something the oldest one is a dirt farmer.
And now you're back being a farmer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what is this place? What is the Gifts of Love farm?
The Gifts of Love farm, I think it's a special, I think the land itself is sacred and special, and it's a place where people can like park themselves, whether you're a farmer, whether you're an educator, whatever your calling has brought you here. There's something about it that'll bring you to where you're supposed to be, whether you stay here a long time, whether you go find your own farm, which other farmers have thrived, or whether you go find another education program. I feel like there's just something magical about the soil here.
So the program is 2 years.
The program, I feel like it's still in discussion because we're in an evolving phase right now.
Okay.
So I feel like while I'm a part of this community, I will not push out a farmer until I know that they're ready to graduate. Because I saw how when we were in the 3-year program, they let us squeeze in 4 years. I saw how hard it was to find
So different people need various times to stay.
Yes. And I feel like it should be a negotiable situation to see how you are.
So the people that you have that have graduated, are they farming? Are they still doing it?
The people that have graduated in the program, yep, they're still farming. Either they went to go become farm managers, or they have their own farm right now. So it's really, really great.
It really is. It is training a new generation of farmers.
Yeah, totally. So I've done this almost a decade now, and now the new farmers coming in are like younger than me. So I'm going through my give back, pay it forward, and I'm like, what can I do to help these new generations of farmers, and a lot of them are of color, and I think is an important topic to talk about. And it just so happens we have such a diverse group of people, and
growing a diverse group of crops.
yes,
too.
yeah, it's really, really awesome.
So it really is that from the interviews we've done this morning, it's a variety of people from a variety of cultures growing the foods that they're comfortable with.
Mm-hmm, definitely, and they have a market for it, and there's a need for that market, which I find really interesting. Each farmer here has such an amazing, incredible story, and they really opened my eyes. Like we have Juliet from Zimbabwe, where there's such a need for her type of corn, where she's able to ship it all over the country. And I'm like, there's a market for this? That's crazy.
It's a specific kind of corn.
Yeah, it's a specific kind of corn, and people come far for it. And I didn't know that. And it's not sweet, but you can tell when people come and eat their corn, it's like it's home. Yeah, so it's like it brings them back to home. Like, and Derek and his Caloo, when I see him in Hartford, the Caribbean community coming for his Caloo, it's really quite.
He promised he would teach me how to use it, because I've never used
Oh my God, he's a
Caloo.
cook too, and he's done cooking demos, so we got to get him on doing a cooking demo. Yeah.
That'd be fun. Excellent. So what else have I not asked you about this place that I should have?
I think that we're growing something special here. I think with the current chaos of the world, this farm is growing a community of farmers of diverse cultures, religions, and we're all growing side by side. And when it comes to food, we can all come together as food. And here in Simsbury, in the Farmington Valley, we have a magical, diverse place where I feel like anyone who comes here, you're welcome, no matter who you are, what you believe in. It's just a welcoming place, and that's special.
So we are organic farmers in this incubator program, and we grow different kind of greens. We specialize in microgreens, lettuce greens, and other Asian crops as well, sometimes bok choy. And we like to educate as well. We're big with education for children, so we have partners as well with the Hartford Public Schools, and we supply to them as well and educate the children on the importance of having culturally relevant produce in the schools.
That's a great point. Talk about culturally, I've never heard it put that way, culturally relevant produce. Talk about it.
Yes, so culturally relevant produce is pretty much food items that are specific to a specific culture. For example, I'm of a Jamaican descent. My mother's from Jamaica, and one of our key staple food items is callaloo. So callaloo is a green vegetable. It may look similar to like a spinach, but it's a lot taller, and it grows really well in the hot summer days. And so what we try to do is that we're trying to grow culturally relevant foods that are similar to people who are in our community, so that way they can have that same food item that they grew up tasting like when they were younger or back at home. They can have it, and they can have it here in the state of Connecticut, and it's grown locally in their backyard.
So what do you do with the vegetables you grow?
Yes.
Yeah, so we have, we sell them at the farmers markets in the Hartford County. So we have several markets that we go to, the North End Farmers Market, Promise Zone, and we're gonna also experiment this year with the West End Market. And our other contract is with the Hartford Public Schools and a restaurant and a juice bar.
Wow. So why greens?
Well, greens, besides the fact that they are a vegetable, but we choose greens because of the nutritional content in them. So we know that greens can provide like your vitamin K or essential nutrients that you need in your body in order for your body to function. And we really are trying to get greens out there because we know, especially when it comes down to the younger group, that they don't really like their greens. They're all for fruits, but not for greens. So we really try to focus on growing greens because we want to show them that, yes, we are encouraging you to eat your fruits, but also you need your greens so you can get those extra nutrients in your system to function properly.
How long have you been involved with the program here?
Yeah, so this is our second year here in the program.
And why? What have you learned? Why are you here?
Well, we're here for various reasons, to be honest. We have a special farmer friend, well, two farmer friends, Vachette and Jim. So they have been a big support system for us, encouraging us to like farm here and to be a part of the Incubators Farmers program. And so, and also Simsbury is not far from where I live. I'm from Bloomfield, so like also it's nearby, so I can get to like where I need to get to a lot easier. And I really like it here. You know, you have the vast acreage in the back where you can grow lots of vegetables, and also I think, you know, the people here is just like very loving to be around and supportive, and so that's one of the reasons why we're here. We also want to expand our growing production, and we believe that Gifts of Love can help us do that.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I've heard from a bunch of the farmers that there's kind of a spirit here, there's kind of a community. Mm-hmm. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, so we all share a story together. Everyone has their own unique perspective on farming. Some farmers are big on the educational side. Some really want to bring their culture into farming as well. And we want to make a difference in the society and the community that we're in. So we have partnered with them, even aside from the farming, like our own produce, but to make changes in society so that way more ethnic populations will have access to these important foods.
Anything else that I haven't asked you about this place that I should have?
This place as well is a organic farm, so I think that's important for us. We don't like the idea of spraying our produce. It's harder work doing it organically, and we see Jim working day in and day out to maintain it, but it's worth it because the quality is a lot better than the conventional farming.
Just from my knowledge, you guys came together. Are you related? Are you?
Actually, so I can tell you how we met. So we actually met each other. We studied biology and nutrition at UConn.
Oh.
Yep. So that's that's the start of our relationship. We're best friends, and we're actually in a relationship. So that's how we came together. But I enjoy us coming together. Like we learned the educational piece about like what we do, and then like to put it in full circle where we're actually in the fields trying to grow food, learning more about growing foods and getting it out to the community is key for us.
And what do you do here at the farm?
I'm the farm manager here.
What does that mean?
I kind of take care of everything, the farming, the planting, and the scheduling, the fixing of tractors, and anything else that needs to be done.
And you are also the person who runs the Incubator Farmer Program.
Right.
What does that mean?
It's a program for farmers starting out, and there was a program here in the past that I ended up at. I was actually in another program, and it was too far to farm, and I came here and I did the Knox program, but by doing that, I see the need for it because I went through all these similar programs, and it's kind of how I got to be the farm manager, I guess, now eventually. And there's a need for it. There's no land access. It's hard to find a place to farm. The hardest thing is to get started. Like you can't buy a greenhouse, you can't buy a tractor, so we have the infrastructure and the...
Yeah, and that's one of the advantages for a farmer that's starting out is that you have the tractors, you have the growing, this place.
Right, yeah, because it's a big investment, and so a lot of it's donated, so that's where we need people to buy the shares or whatever to help keep the donations going. So
I was going to ask you about that. This is the first time you're doing a CSA.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's pretty good.
What do you grow here?
Pretty much everything. It's like, they'll tell me I grow too many peppers, but I like peppers because there's a variety. They're not all the same, but I mean, we got peppers, your basics grocery store stuff, but a lot of ethnic stuff like Vachette's got the bok choy, and Manny and Derek with the callaloo and the cilantro, but there's a lot of varieties. I actually grow turnip greens. A lot of stuff I grew urban farming. It's kind of a lot of things cross over between cultures too.
And Derek, you are an incubator farmer here at the Gifts of Love farm.
I am.
Tell us a little bit about your journey to get here.
It's a long journey, but I got here and I got into what I like. Farming is from long tradition, so to find myself involved in farming is not a surprise.
So you came from Jamaica, and you told me earlier that you did indeed have some farming in your blood. Talk about that.
Yes, farming is in my blood. Family are farmers. My father is a farmer and a carpenter and a mason. He grew the big garden around the house. And when I was growing up, I became attracted to the plants growing.
And you were telling me that farming is something of a passion, something you do for your heart. Talk about that.
Yes, since food gives us nutrition, I just get into it to have my own nutrition and to feed myself. And then the rest of the crops I just said, here, have it.
So you have been involved in the incubator farming program for about 2 years.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about what you've learned as part of this.
I learned that people could work together as a group and achieve common goals. And that's what's here, why I'm here at Gift of Love Farm, to work together with other farmers and accomplish a goal.
You came with some farming skills. Were there any ones that you added when you came here? Were there any techniques that they taught you or approaches or?
Yes, there's few cover crops, rotation, organic methods, and also environment, in habitat, animals, insects, and all of those that you see on the farms when you work.
You grow some very interesting plants, some of them from Jamaica.
Yes.
Talk about that.
Callaloo is one of them, the amaranth. Jamaican people love their callaloo. So, because I'm living in a community where there is these people and they after this crop, so I grow it as a farmer. So there goes the customer and here is the farmer. Scotch bonnet is one of them too, and scallions and thyme. And I grow those crops because of these customers, Caribbean ethnicity.
And how do you sell them?
I sell them by the bunch. Bunch of callaloo I sell for $5, a smaller bunch for $3. So if you don't want a big one and it's too much, you go for the small one.
So you were telling me you have a variety of customers, individuals, but you also sell to restaurants.
Yes, I do sell to restaurants and some supermarkets around the Hartford area.
What does this farm mean to you?
It means survival and the future. It means communicating and reaching out to the community.
You were telling me that for some of your customers, they've never seen callaloo, and you sort of give them a sample and teach them about it. So not everybody has grown up eating some of these foods.
Exactly. I love to introduce people to the crops. I just like, here you go, take it home. You try it, and you come back and tell me how it tastes.
You were saying you do that at the farmers markets.
I do that.
Yeah. And then you also told me they come back.
They do come back, and they said, oh, you know, that was delicious. And at the same time, they said, let me have some more of that callaloo.
And now you have a customer for life.
Yes.
So one question I want to wrap up with is, what have we not talked about to do with the Gifts of Love Farm that we should be? What did I forget to ask you?
If we would want to introduce more people towards this farm in a light where this farm would be producing food, but you could still get clean and healthy food from this farm.
That's a good message to leave us with.
Sure.
Excellent. And before we go, you had a wonderful explanation of why you farm that I want to get on tape. Why do you farm?
To eat the food and then send the rest to potential people out there so they could get the benefits.
The stories that we can tell about the farm are somewhat, endless. And the history of the farm, dating way back, 150 years ago, is really an incredible story.
Funding for Simsbury Community Television is provided in part by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.